Being AA is really what made me a good CEO, because I remember sitting at those boardroom tables, taking notes and snoozing off, but it was coming. I was a sponge that I didn't know I had. When I became a business owner, I wrang that sponge out and it all came. I'm like, oh, I remember my boss. Well, I know what that acronym is.
And how did they problem solve their way out of it? Or when there was conflict, how did that conflict look and feel? And I remember being in some meetings and I was so uncomfortable because I wasn't okay with conflict. And I was like, oh my gosh, and they'd actively be fighting each other with words. I was like, should I take notes on this? I don't really know what to do. And
so now I can protect those people that support me in the future.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of OnlyFounders. I am so excited to be joined today by Bonnie. Shuts the door, Bonnie.
Shuts the door.
Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Happy morning.
Friend. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in today.
Absolutely.
In a rare live studio recording where the studio, I'm literally time-lapsing it, you guys. We are a low production show here. It's my office, and we have strategically done a great job this morning of setting this little corner up for you, this nook in our world. We're coming at you from Inglewood, Colorado today, and this is going to be a really fun discussion. I'm excited.
I think it is.
So I want you to tell everybody. So I already know Bonnie. I'm going to give a little intro of how we met, and then I'm going to have Bonnie tell you about Bonnie because, she's really amazing. I want her to say all of the things. So Bonnie and I met at the Biz Life Con event that I spoke at earlier this year, and it is with a group called Second Act Women, which is incredible.
It is.
And you talk a lot about second act, your life and second act. And the second act is really just the midlife and beyond. So 40s, 50s, 60s. And I actually feel that's when women thrive the most in their careers. And so a lot of times you think that with ageism, you get a little bit more dull or a little bit less than, but it's actually, I think when women have mostly raised children, or like me, like you're coming into the thick of it in your 40s and then you're getting out of it towards your 50s, and you just have the time and the space to have the energy and think. And your brain shuts on again and you can just go. So with that, Bonnie, tell us who you are, but that's how we met.
Who am I? Yes. No, we met through Second Act Women. So I'll kind of go back. So I am a Second Act woman in my 50s, late 50s. So if I go back to the day, I was a almost 30-year corporate executive assistant. And, the corporate politics just kind of got to me by about that time when I was becoming an empty nester. I just recently became one. And I was just like, I'm done with this shit. I don't want to work for the man anymore. That's that thing that you said, coming back up through age, you start to get a little more confident in my experience. And you just you can only stand so much. And so a couple of years before I started my own company, I started it as kind of a side hustle with my bestie at the office, Michelle. Shout out, Michelle.
What's up, Michelle?
What's up, Michelle? Bands Connor. I'll just
we
throw
love
her whole
shout
name
outs.
out there.
What's up?
Now I got to get her to watch. So she was the recruiter at my last job. And, we'd sneak into her office now and then and we'd just strategize. And what can we do to get the hell out of corporate? And so she's like, you've been an admin professional for almost 30 years and you've been in every seat. She goes, why don't you become a recruiter? And I'm like, well, dang, I've had enough interviews in my life that I certainly could become a recruiter for admins. And so we started Tandem Resource Solutions, a company that still exists today.
How many years?
9. Well, 9, 11, if you count the years that I wasn't full-time.
Yeah.
11 started as a side hustle.
Yeah.
So we started Tandem Resource Solutions as a recruiting firm for administrative professionals and for tech, because she did tech. We got a few clients here and there, and we'd sneak in the conference rooms, and when we were working at our other job and just kind of do our own thing. But, I remembered that I had this awesome LinkedIn network from old bosses that I had and people I admired and all the things. So I said, I'm going to reach out to these people. I'm going to say, how do you make a business work? And so these people were amazing. But the consensus from all of them was that the only way to make a business really work is to give it 100%. And I'm like, oh, how am I going to do that? But my stars aligned. It was like, I got written up at that job. Long story, but I'll tell it if you want me to.
I'm very curious about it. Are we curious about it? I think we're curious about it.
I don't mind sharing. It's been a long time since I was the mom of the office. I feel like I was the one that everybody loved. Go to Bonnie on the spot. One guy called me Bonnie Ninja. I was all around. I was climbing on conference tables, doing all the things. I had fun with my people, not my bosses all the time. And so I really cared for the staff. And there was a gal that was a new mother who started working from home. mind you, this is before COVID and not many people work from home. And so it was kind of a coveted role. And I was quite jealous, I'm not going to lie. But I couldn't work from home because I had to be there for my executive and be the office manager and all the things. So I was always kind of, for my boss, who was the CEO, kind of monitoring, for lack of a better word, the people that worked from home to kind of see if they were actually working. I always doubted that she was, because the one little glance I'd make to my Facebook on my phone, the green light was always there. And she was always there. But, so we had a little animosity between us. But she came in for a meeting one day, and we had a little kitchen area. And there was something that we had built out in the original build, was a little room called the multi-purpose room. You could go in there to pray, to sleep, to eat, whatever. And she was in that room pumping. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting in the kitchen having my lunch, and it was all males in the kitchen area. And one guy just said, what's she doing in there? And I just immediately went into, oh gosh, I've got to take their focus out of the fact that her breast is out and she's doing what she's doing in there. I said, she's just sleeping. And I thought it was funny. And they're like, oh, okay. Oh, she's taking a nap. She's a new mom and taking a nap. And I thought I was protecting her. Well, she reported me to HR saying that I, and went into the whole, I don't support breastfeeding mothers, all the things. I'm like, are you kidding? I am a mother.
Yeah.
I'm like, how could I not?
Yeah. Were you afraid that if you said that she was pumping, that they would try to sneak and look, or
maybe I'll just get that thought out of their heads.
Yeah.
So they're not like picturing her all exposed and all the things. I really thought I was doing her a favor.
Yeah. By
the next day, my boss came to me, I think it was a Friday, and he said, I have to tell you that you've been written up. And I'm like, what? No way.
Wait, me?
Me? No.
Bonnie Ninja?
Bonnie Ninja.
What?
Everybody loves. No way.
Yeah.
And I was never mean to her, mind you, ever. Like outwardly mean. Like in my head, I might be cursing at her or whatever. But I still protected her because I was professional and I was monitoring the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I had to sign the write-up. And there was no verbal warning, nothing. And they wanted me to sign the write-up. I'm like, you know what? I'm not signing it. It was a Friday. And I said,
what would that mean if you signed the write-up?
It would be admitting that I'd done something wrong.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't feel like I did anything wrong. I knew she had it.
But they didn't even bring you to the table for a conversation. They just literally took her word and said, okay, she must have done it, right?
Exactly. So I was like, I'm not signing this. And he's like, it's okay. He goes, take the weekend. You come back, sign on Monday. Well, I came home, bawling to my husband like I do. And that's a whole nother Oprah. My poor husband.
Bonnie, you're on OnlyFounders. This is not Oprah. Okay. All right.
We're on the whole other OnlyFounders episode.
Yeah.
So, he said, you know what? He goes, you've got that side hustle. Why don't you just take it full time? Do it. He goes,
and this is your husband.
This is my husband. And I'm like,
good
really?
man.
Like, really? Like, we're not going to have any income in the beginning, and all the things. And he's like, just do it. You don't have kids, just work from home. You've always wanted to do it.
How old were your kids at this time?
Let's see, 48. So my daughters were 20.
Okay.
20 and 21.
Yeah.
I think by that time.
So you were in truly that second act of empty nesters,
college kids.
You're on your own. You can do it.
It was awesome. And I felt really empowered. And I thought, this goes right along with what the people that I had hit up in my network telling me, you got to give it 100%. This is perfect.
It was alignment.
Yes. It was perfect.
It was like you got the advice and then the act happened.
Yeah.
And honestly, the act had to happen to push you out.
It did.
Or else you would have never
left.
Yes.
I would not have ever left.
Yes.
You're right.
I love alignment.
Things happen for a reason.
They really do.
They really do. And so I went to my boss the next Monday and I said, you know what? I really want to be just like you when I grow up. I'm not going to sign that paper and I'm going to start my own company and I want to, build a multi-million-dollar company like you. So I played to the male ego a little bit.
What did he say?
And he actually smiled because I think he was a little bit torn that I had gotten written up to, but he had to give it to me, HR rules and all the things.
Maybe he was hoping that your integrity would just reign like it did.
Yeah.
And then you just pieced out to just not sign it and just figure it out.
Thanks for the push.
Yeah.
I put in a 1 month notice and then left my job and went out with a bang, had a party, all the good things.
Do you still talk to him?
No. Now, I've tried a couple times. I think I reached out really early on in my business, asked him for some forms that he uses in his business to duplicate in my business and that kind of thing. And that was the last time we'd ever talked or communicated in any way. I mean, I still follow him on LinkedIn and see what the company's doing. It's totally changed. All different people.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah.
So that pushed me out. My friend, God bless her, she could not leave because she was a single mom with like a 5-year-old kid at the time. And she was an older single mom and even more God blessings because wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she couldn't leave. We dissolved our partnership pretty soon thereafter that, just because of circumstance. And I was giving it 100% and she couldn't. And it was okay. I'd learned a lot from her. And so I took the Tandem Resource Solutions, which is the first logo was 2 girls on a little tandem bike.
I love that.
We came up with that. It was super cute. And then I left, gave it 100%, came up with the branding and all the things, the messaging, the vision, all those things. Then I'm in it and I'm like, how the hell do you sell? Where do you find clients?
Yes.
I mean, the realization of entrepreneurship just
because are you an ops gal? You're like
I'm
all
ops
operations.
Behind the scenes,
that's what I feel.
And admin.
So then when you have to go to creatively get out there, you're like, wait a second. What do I do?
And in corporate, I never had to network. I never had to go out and meet people and talk and sell and do all the things. And so I was like, okay, well, I've got to do something in between my recruitments, which came in like quarterly and they paid really well. I mean, I could work, do 4 recruitments and make what I was making at my last job, which was cool. But I felt like I was used to that steady paycheck. And I really wanted to get that again. And so I thought out of the box a little bit. And I thought, well, what do I know how to do? I know how to assist. I'm an admin. That's what I've been doing for decades. So how can I do that? I'd heard that virtual assisting thing. And I'm like, really, all I thought it was a call center in the Philippines. I had zero clue. I mean, granted, again, before COVID, this was 2017.
Yes.
And not many people did VA work.
Right.
And so I thought, well, what am I when my bosses are traveling? I'm a virtual assistant.
Yeah.
And they always travel. And so I thought, okay, let's try it. And I happened to be looking at Craigslist or something one time, and there was an ad for a VA. And I just applied and I took transferable skills from my corporate career into remote VA purpose and put them in there and got the gig. And so when I put out to the world that Tandem, which was just me at the time, was not only this recruiting agency, but we're this new shiny object called a virtual assistance agency. And we're US based. And my virtual walls fell over.
Okay.
People, because mind you, most of my network were EAs. From corporate.
Oh, yeah.
And at the time, again, really highly coveted work to work from home. And they're like, oh my God, I want to work for you. I'm like, me?
Yeah.
Like, really? I'm just a secretary. I'm just me. You want to work for me?
Oh my gosh. When did your identity of I'm just a secretary shift to CEO boss babe?
That took a while.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's part of my story is debunking that.
Identity is huge when you're a founder. And I dare say when you're a female founder, it takes even longer. There's something about females, this is what I speak to, stepping into your power, not shrinking, not being small. And when you are a founder and then a female founder, to then really shift your identity and say, who am I?
How about a female founder over 50?
Exactly.
Ooh, the Fs.
Yeah, who's also a mom.
Yeah.
And you're literally going, what is this identity container that I now want to exist in? And when you finally pinpoint it, how many times do you change it? Because there's doubt, there's, that's not the right
100.
word. I'm not. So I've gone back and forth over the last 12 years of, am I a founder or am I a CEO?
Right.
Or am I a president or am I the owner?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, am I the owner versus the founder and owner, CEO and founder? And I'm just like, what do I don't know. And then every networking event you go to where you have to put a name tag on with your title, I'm like,
let me just put all of them.
Shoot. Like, I get so stuck. And every networking event, it's like name and title. And I'm like, like hyperventilate over my title.
Magic maker.
Like, what do I do? Yeah, it is just.
HMFIC.
Yep. What?
Head motherfucker in charge.
There you go. I can't believe I've not heard that one before. I get called boss bitch a lot.
Okay.
And I used to think that was bad. And I'd be like,
I'm not a bitch.
I'm not a bitch. But then I was like, no, I literally have in my office, there's a picture frame that says boss bitch mode. Okay. Because when I change my environment from home and leave the family and leave the kids and leave the identity of, did I really do this thing? And then I arrive to where I'm doing the thing. And it's like, oh no, boss bitch mode it's almost like a superhero costume and cape.
Boss bitch better than
I'm CEO. This is who I am. I'm here to do stuff. Did you see all the stuff that we're doing? Yeah.
I'm the HMFIC, like I said. Did you see me?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So your title, you're in it. Okay. So then have you ever thought about bringing on another partner in Tandem? Or
I did.
Okay.
I actually did.
Okay.
I brought on a male partner. Because I wanted that dynamic, a yin and yang kind of thing. And I did bring on a male partner who was better at sales and lead gen and all the things.
We talk about that. You hire people who are not like you.
Do things better than you do.
And they're different. And they're all different skill sets. You do not hire The same people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he and I were working together for a while, and he was younger than me, maybe a decade or so. He was 42, I think, and him and his partner were adopting a child.
Wow.
And so for me to be at this opposite end, having, kids getting in their mid-20s and him bringing in a baby, you'd think that'd be a great dynamic between us, like, again, the yin and yang. But no, it required his attention. And he needed a full-time job with benefits, and he just couldn't do it anymore. So I bought him out a couple years in and thought, you know what? Who's been running this show? Who's that HMFIC, like we said? Who's been doing all the work?
Yeah.
He was trying to juggle a couple different jobs and doing this and doing something else. So I love him to death. His kid is like 7 now. It's great. I mean, I wish him all the best. Love you, Carlo. Mwah.
Give it up for Carlo.
Carlo Stewart.
I love all the shout outs on the show. It's like, are they ever going to watch or listen? We don't know, but we're going to shout you out.
Darn tootin'. I went, darn tootin'. God, I sound like I'm 80.
Tootin'.
I think I'm 80. Darn tootin'. I'm going to tell him.
Oh, it's so glad for the rain today.
Oh, dang
we
it.
sure need it. Those grass.
I don't know where the hell that came
Not going to water themselves. All right, Grandpa and Grandma here.
Yes, exactly.
We're going to keep going.
It's the white hair coming out. Oh, yeah. Just let that start. So
I love
ignore
it.
that.
I love it.
But yeah, so let's see. So then it was me on my own again, and the virtual walls coming over. And so I thought, you know what? Boom, epiphany.
Were all of these VAs contractors?
Yes.
So they only got paid when they worked, when you
Yes,
could hire them out.
Exactly.
Smart.
So let's build a team. And you mean I can have an agency and I can get my profits on the top. All I have to do is sell. Because once I had that joy and that real understanding of what I was providing people, I knew I could sell it. Even though I wasn't a salesperson, I knew I could sell it. If I get the leads in warm, which is always a challenge anyway, I could sell it. But that's when the networking started. And I just started doing it. I joined organizations like Second Act Women, Barbara Brooks, whatever her name is. Shout out.
Barbara Brooks, Barb. Hey, Barb.
Second Act Women, yes. They are who really gave me and made me who I am.
Really?
Today.
I didn't know that.
I'm not kidding.
I love that.
I met them.
That's why you give so much back to her.
So much. And it just comes natural. I'm not trying. It's just, it means so much to me. And in 2018, they were speaking at Denver Startup Week then. And that's what I learned about and said, I've got to go there because that was like all this awesome founder talk and all these things.
Yeah, it's a great event.
So awesome. I met so many people. And when I saw this track that was for women in their second act, I was like, these are my people. Like we talked about finding your people.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, that's even, even more granular into my people. And so I watched like this and listened to what they were talking about. And I said, I've got to meet that woman. So I'm going to stalk her. She mentioned what co-working space she worked from. And so the next week, Bonnie shows up at her co-working space.
Brilliant. That's a brilliant
it was
strategy.
Actually 2 buildings that had a little shuttle in between them. And I wasn't sure which one she'd be at. And so I was at the north. She actually worked at the south, but the parking was in between. And so I was taking the shuttle to go down to the south. And the shuttle driver says, do you mind if we run back? He goes, I'm sorry. We had just left the parking lot. He's like, do you mind if I run back? Because somebody needs to get on real quick. I'm sure, whatever. Barb jumps on the bus with her little dog too, little Riley. She jumps on the bus and I'm sitting in the front seat just going, like,
I'm here for you.
She's all, she's very boisterous and loud and fun. And she's sitting in the back seat. I just turned around. I said, do you know why I'm actually on this bus? And she's like, why? I said, I'm stalking you. And she's like, really? So it was great. I mean, it's like, it was just meant to be. We were meant to meet each other one-on-one in that bus like that. And so she took me to her co-working space, walked me around, introduced me to people, and we just chatted it up. And that was 2018. And I have had my claws in Second Act Women ever since. And I can't believe it's been this long. But when you give yourself so fully into an organization like that, you'll see it, you'll reap the benefits because of how I latched onto them and spouted their message to all my friends and colleagues. They paid me back big time. Barb selected me to be a representative of a beautiful second act, and she got me on the news, and they did a feature on me and all the things like, me? Amazing. Again, that imposter syndrome was hard, but they helped me grow. Put the kibosh on it. I went to so many of their trainings and workshops and all the things that I eventually ended up being on their advisory board. I just can't stop one-on-one and with Barb. She had a partner at the beginning with Lupe. I was her partner at the beginning, and I definitely love them both and have just dug into it. So that's the power of digging into that network or organization that you follow because, they'll notice. And they really did. And they helped me, get rid of the imposter syndrome. I don't know if it's 100% gone. I still feel it now and then, but the HMFIC came out a bit more after that. But as you can imagine, I'm growing older and older and older. And the older I get, the more I don't give two fucks anymore.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm going to attract my people.
Yeah.
And that's when I started my podcast. That's business number 2, which turned into a full-on business because there's a lot to go into
There's a lot. So tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, it's called Delegate, the number 2, Delegate2Elevate, Get Shit Done.
I love it. I was just on it because I love it. So we're literally doing like a tradesies week.
You'll see that later this year.
I love it.
Yeah. And that was a random LinkedIn outreach by somebody I didn't know. She's like, your presence and your online, the way you do things online, I've heard you speak and I think you need to do a podcast. I'm like, again, me? Who wants to listen to me?
Yes.
I'm this 50-something-year-old woman in Littleton, Colorado. Who wants to listen to me? But I just took a chance on myself for the very first time and invested like the amount of a car into her consulting services. Yeah. It was like, okay, because she had this team of Filipino VAs who did all the production on the back end. And she coached me on how to do the podcast. And, that relationship was going to, from the beginning, spawn off into a joint partnership in another business. And so she and I worked together for probably, 6-7 months when her life crashed. And
oh, no.
Yeah, she got divorced and remarried and taken to the bank by the second marriage. And then she had some health issues and she had to back out of the joint venture.
Yikes.
And so again, my husband were like, oh God, we just invested so much money. And that was the plan, to go from the podcast to that.
Got it.
That I was like, okay, well, we're just going to have to make this joint venture an adventure.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
We started working on the podcast the end of 2024. And I recorded with her, or worked with her until mid-25 and took it myself around, July, August of 25.
Okay. So when you took it yourself, there was an oh shit because she produced all of it.
Yeah.
So then what did you do? Because I had a similar story this year when my co-host left and he did all the production and I then got the show. But then I was like, shit, I have to do all of the production and
I thought,
what'd you do?
Well, I am a go-getter and I thought I'm pretty techie. I can figure this out. And I was on Riverside.
Yeah.
And it does a lot for you. And I saw what it was doing. I just didn't know really where to start, how to do it. I just did my research and how to do it. I watched YouTube videos, all the things. I literally started doing it myself when my husband's like, cut it out. I'll do it.
I really like your husband.
Thank you. I like it.
He's
the second husband. He's the level up.
Well, partners are, we talk a lot about this on the show. At one point, I'm going to have my husband on the show because I think that the most impressive thing you can have as your toolbox of an entrepreneur, of a successful entrepreneurship journey, is a good partner. It's just like how you have kids. Like anytime you go do something that you're leveling up that partnership at home and what they feed you, right? Because they are the voice in your head. They become your interior monologue with you. So I like that he's like, you know what, buddy, you should just stop.
Because I was whining.
So he does it.
He does. And that's what we call on my show, creative delegation or cross delegation to a partner, to a family member, to your community, to your board, to whoever you have working to your side. Because sometimes you have to get creative when there's not a budget and you're bootstrapping this thing and you got to figure it out. And so he was who I creatively delegated to for the podcast. And it's been great. And I have found so much joy doing it. And I didn't know I needed it, And so the joint venture was what went away, but the adventure became Preferred Service Pros, which is our directory of B2B professional service providers, where you can go and find vetted pros that can help you in your business with marketing, with bookkeeping, with consulting, with coaching. Speaking. Find all those people.
How do you get to be a preferred service pro?
Yeah. Found a lot of the season 1, season 2 podcast guests have all become founding members. You go to the site, preferredservicepros.com, and you apply because they are vetted. So we have a 10-step vetting process, which means what's their branding, what's their online presence, do they have testimonials? And this is very high level, but we do dig a lot deeper to qualify people. And so then if you're approved, you're on the list. And there's 3 different tiers to get more visibility, more exposure. And right now, the membership costs fees that are coming in are being thrown right back into advertising. So we get more visibility and more people out there.
And how big is the network so far?
I'd say we're at about 80 people.
Yay.
Yeah. Not bad for starting in June.
No, that's great.
And so
So when you are listed, are you also given access to the network, or is that a different membership?
That's a different membership.
Okay.
Yeah, this is more like being.
So to use it, you have to have a different membership, and then to be listed, that's a different.
It's actually just 3 different listings.
Okay.
So it's not really a community. It's like an Angie's List or a Craigslist, but it's more of a vetted list. It's not just, let me throw some advertising dollars at you and get my name on the list. Mm-hmm. It's more like these people, you can actually click over from their listing and see their podcast episode if they're on the podcast.
Yeah.
So you kind of get a feel like who you want to work with.
That's smart.
Because that helps.
Is your a conversation behind the scenes of who they are?
I completely offer it.
Yeah.
I do free advertising, free marketing for them to be on the podcast. Mm-hmm. At the higher levels, they can have an ad. They can have a shout out from me on the podcast as we grow the podcast following.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
And it keeps me uber busy.
Yeah.
And I never thought that I would truly be an entrepreneur. We talked about this when I interviewed you yesterday, and it's like, I really just wanted to have a business to skate me to my retirement.
You wanted to just employ yourself.
Employ myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not growing any empires.
No,
we're not starting multiple things.
No.
You just employ yourself.
Heck no. But you just get this tick. And you're like, oh, you mean I could start this new thing? But should I put it at the old business or just start another business? And you just keep wanting to start businesses. It's so crazy.
Yes.
And it's beyond me how you evolve as a person.
Yeah.
And the human, which I really like. You talked a lot about just being human. And that's what I love when I talk to people on my podcast too, because it's not just about who we are professionally, but who we are as humans.
Right.
And the importance of working with the people you like to work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Humans, we always say you hire humans, you work with humans, you refer humans, you don't just hire an entity.
No.
You're not looking at the entity. In fact, most people, when you have really solid branding, they only remember the human. They don't remember the name, which is why I've had to repeat your business names forever. Because I'm like, well, I know Bonnie. It's Bonnie. It's Bonnie's company.
Companies again.
Just work with Bonnie. It's fine. And it's like, but what is the name of the business? Well, nobody cares.
No, right.
We don't give 2 shits about the name of your business because the entity is like, okay, yeah, whatever. It's like, who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it? And then it's like, well, there's a whole business container around that. Well, you, whatever the business name is, but like you, right? So
reintroduce yourself now and then when you have new connections. I did that recently, and so did you. We reintroduce ourselves because people see you growing and throwing out this new stuff. They have no idea what you're doing.
Nope.
So I've done that recently because I've created to where I'm the delegation expert. Mm-hmm. And what does that mean? What services do you offer?
Yeah.
Well, I give you this whole ecosystem.
How to work with you.
Support in your business. I get you out on the podcast, and then you can be on the listing for external or internal. They could hire each other, which would be great. It's smart if you think about it.
Yeah, it's a great ecosystem.
I like that word, the ecosystem.
I do, yeah. And recently, I took that advice and just created this landing page on my website for the first time. It was like ways to work with me. Let's list that out, right?
Yes.
And so there's, the podcast is on there too, which isn't really work, but it is work. It's work, but it's also just conversations.
Yeah, which is nice to have.
But I think that's really important when you say, well, what do you do? And then how do you do it?
Yeah.
Right. So, and I think especially from women in my community that I've heard from who are entrepreneurs and founders, they have a tough time saying how they do it. So you could say, well, I create this impact by doing X, or I transform this to this, or I'm the money maker, right? And it's like, well, this is beautiful. And also, how do you get that done?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I have this, and I have this, and I have this, and I have this, and you're just like, oh my gosh. So
make it simple.
It's like, you have to just make it really brief. It's like, well, you can do this or this, and this is the 2 audiences that it's for. I mean, it really just has to be simple. And I think we just get in our own way because it's imposter syndrome. So when we're asked that, it's like a deer in headlights, and we're like, oh, I hate this question. It's like the name and title. Yeah. And you're sitting there on the name tag, like shaking.
Expert. I'm like, okay,
what do I do?
That was a word I had to tackle.
Expert.
That was hard for me to tackle.
And the brag, right? Like the brag list of you said, you go into the male ego of, well, yeah, I won this award. I'm the best CEO. I'm the best boss. I have the best sales company. I have the best sales team. I have the best everything. And as women, we're just like, I do a lot of things really well. And you're like, no. Let's let the boss bitch shine.
Yes.
Okay, so I built this incredible branding agency. Like, if you've seen our reviews, they're all 5 out of 5. My husband always like, you look so fake, because it's like, there's not even a 4. Like, it's just all 5. And then Google's like magically disappeared 4 more of my reviews recently because Google
interesting.
Sucks. Yeah, they just decide to take them off one day. It used to be 34 and now I'm at 31. review. I don't know. I don't have time to chase it anymore because I just don't care.
No.
I used to care a lot, and it's really hard to care when you're a solopreneur.
Yes.
So, but it's interesting when you need the identity piece is huge for me. When you go back and you look at what people say about you, and that's why I love you vet with the preferred service pros, because you are looking at the qualifications of these people so they don't have to sell themselves.
Right.
But when you look at your testimonials and you look at your reviews, I do that a lot.
Yeah.
I do that a lot because I have to remember what I do for people. And that's the best place to start. And so when you're creating marketing or you're reformatting a service or a product that you sell, I suggest you actually go back and look at all your testimonials and your reviews and any email interaction that someone has given you feedback, because then you remember what you actually do for them and how you can make that thing continue doing that thing for other people. That's a really great place to start, but it's also just a really good ego boost that you need.
It is.
Right?
That's
and
like
it really
positive
helps your
affirmations
identity. Yes. And it really impacts your identity to be like, I am a boss bitch. I did that for that person. Yeah. And I think we have to remember what these businesses give, right? Because it's so important. It's so important. It's important when you get lost in the entrepreneur journey of like, well, I did that and then I did this and then I'm doing that. And I just spoke at a women's event the other night and they're like, well, are you still doing branding clients with Fix and Form? Because then the way I speak about it is like, well, I've moved on to keynote speaking. Yeah. It's like, oh, no, I'm still doing that, but it's referral only because I'm not generating leads for that business to work them in the same way. It's like when people bring a branding client to us, it's referral only because it's usually energetically aligned and it's a great mission client.
I love that.
Which is great. So that's like referral only because I spent so much of my energy generating to grow that business and I did a great job. And I don't like sales and marketing. But now I'm like, no, but I'm generating in the speaking business and then I'm letting the others kind of flow to me, but it's still open, right? But that's the hard part when you own multiple things. And I asked you this morning, well, so are you still doing Tandem? What happened? And you're like, yeah, that's my bread and butter.
That's my baby.
But I'm generating for Preferred Service Pro.
Yeah, I'm growing. And it's had to take a little bit of the wayside, go to the wayside a little bit to grow it. But that's when you have an excellent team.
Yeah.
My team is still keeping the doors open.
Okay, so this is not covered enough and we need to do it. Okay. So how many people are on your team and what do each of them do for you?
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I have a team of, at any given time, up to 35, all U.S. based they're all contractors.
Amazing.
But they don't work solely for me. They can dip in other places, but I call them so scrappy because I wanted them to be all US based. It was important to me. And then I wanted to dig into having people on my team that were in places that I've been in my life so that I can truly empathize with what they're going through. So there's single mothers, there's stay-at-home moms. I really wasn't one of those, but there's a lot of women in their second act who are leaving corporate, trying to make ends meet and they can't get another job. So I'm like, I can help you get something. And then they're BIPOC VAs, and a special one to me that we recently were inducted by the Department of Defense is Military Spouse Employment Partnership.
Yes.
Yeah. So we were certified, and then my husband and I went to DC a couple of years ago and were given that certification. It was really cool because I was a military wife with my first husband for 10 years, and that was a struggle. But I really enjoy helping women like that. I've had a couple guys on, so there's that diversity there. But no, they are all doing direct client support right now. So they are supporting clients. I still support one client because I'm an EA at my core, always 30 years of it. That's who I am. I support, I make people look better. I help them with their scheduling and all the things. And I've been working with one client for 5 years. I love him to death. Shout out, Brian.
Yay, Brian. Here's another shout out. Brian.
Brian.
Love that. So you still have to hold one position as EA to satisfy your previous identity.
It's also about being in the trenches with my team, knowing what their day-to-day feels like. I still, at times, the business has ebbed and flowed as it does. At one time, quickly after COVID, we just skyrocketed. And I had 4 virtual account managers, other than me managing accounts, that were in the mid-level management, that they would handle all the account.
Wow.
So it was great. They were doing lead gen and sales and having kickoff calls and discovery calls for me and all the kinds of things that I didn't have enough time to grow and scale the business with. So that was amazing. But then, 2025 happened. I had to let them go for a bit. I love them though. They're still on my team. At least one of them's still on my team. And she's that creative delegation. I reached out to her the other day and I said, would you mind brainstorming some biz dev with me so we can think about how to grow them? She says, of course. She says, I'll help you. And she's not asking to get paid for it. I said, how about I give you first dibs on the first 2 clients that we land together?
Yeah.
Because she's a VA to begin with. And she's like, okay. Then I'll give you your VAM pay you just got to get creative. I'll give you your VAM pay that you used to get, for like 2 months. Something like that. So it was always part of the profits that they got for their commissions. So it worked really well. And I know so many people if and when I'm ready for lead gen, for marketing,
for scaling
accounting.
up again.
And then that creative delegation to my husband, again, he does the books because I hate bookkeeping.
That's amazing. Okay. So in Tandem right now, do you feel like you're just kind of at a good place to flow with what's happening and you're not in a growth phase?
I'm not in a growth phase
You're retained.
anymore. It's cruising. Lose a client, gain a client, lose a client. I feel this pull back into it now because I've been giving so much of my time to the other 2. So I'm feeling a huge pull right now to go back to your baby, give it some attention. So that's why I reached out to that ex-VAM, which virtual account manager on my team, and asked for her to help me with biz dev, and she is.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes from there.
I love that.
We can do something.
Yeah. Okay. So did your business ever reach $1 million?
No. The highest year, $500,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
See, we don't talk about numbers enough either. And everybody thinks it's just this like black hole of you assume by the success of someone's branding, which is why branding is so important, that you literally are doing better than you are.
Millions. Yeah.
And I branded my speaking business, which I literally pulled it out of my butt. Like literally, I seriously, guys, I'm 7 months in and I own a branding agency and I decided
to brand myself
and not like have any of my team really do it. And then it just branded and I was like, yeah, this works for now. And I've literally evolved it. But I will say this, I laugh about this because I say, we know ourselves so well. We know what we're trying to do when we're in a mission-led business.
Yes.
And I have people that are pitching me for services or curious about speaking. And they say, oh, well, other speakers that are like, I really would love to pick your brain.
Yes. I get free coaching.
On how you've been such a successful speaker for all these years. And I literally just start laughing. And they're like, did I say something wrong? And I'm like, I've literally had my speaking business for 6 months, maybe 7.
That's good. That's what you put out there.
I know. I always joke with people. I'm like, oh, well, so this goes back to Fix and Form and the work we do with branding. It's how well you brand yourself. It's a facade. And people think, oh, they're doing really well or they've done it forever or they must be really experienced. I'm like, well, great. That means it's working.
Yeah.
The branding's working. Yeah. And it was imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And it was, I'll just throw something together because I don't know that I'm really this thing right now. Yeah. Right. And so then I've been actually taking it more seriously now and putting more work into it. But I think there's something to say that we just don't talk about finances and income and what could be really great for one person is not going to make ends meet for another. And then I've met some really unassuming business owners who are females. And literally, and if you look at them online, branding does not match what they're doing. And they're like, oh, it's a $2.5 million business. I'm like, holy shit. I would never have guessed. And then do you need some brand work? Yeah. Because I own a branding agency. But like the quiet hustlers, and they're the ones that have the networks, or they have the token partnership, or they got that one big client and it's this retainer that's keeping everybody busy. So you really can't assume finances. So I always had this dream of like, well, every business owner who is successful and been in business for 10 years had to have gotten to the $1 million mark. And many, many, many don't ever. Right. And to get to the 500,000 is like a fight. It's a fight, right?
And you need a global pandemic to help you. That's what helped us.
So thank you for sharing that because I just feel like we don't talk about the money and the back end and what it takes to get there. And then when you were there, you had 4 account managers and you had this whole team managing. How many VAs did you have at the time that you were booking out?
At the time that we were doing that, we had about 17.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. So do you want that business to go back there?
I would love it to go back there.
So you liked it?
I would love to be able to bring those account managers back. Yeah. There was so awful to say. There was so much less work for me to do. I would dip in with the major decisions or whatever, but more, ability to do the other things that I need to do. So which
is the other business,
businesses
and the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. And the outreach and the sales.
And the networking and whatever. Maybe some little speaking. I don't know.
Yeah. What are your favorite ways to find new people? How do you like to grow?
I'll do random LinkedIn outreach. And if I just see somebody that just really is talking my language, a lot of times is to invite them on the podcast. And to date, I've recorded maybe 100 episodes and not one person has turned me down. So
To be on the podcast?
To be on the podcast.
Same.
I'm like, I love that. And that's
crazy. I have not ever been turned down except by one person who doesn't like to talk about themselves. And I said, that's fair. And they just don't do them.
I take that back. There was one person that recently that I did ask. So out of 101. That's
incredible.
Recently.
Yeah. I'm same boat. I'm nearing 100. Well, our first version of the show was like 67, 68 episodes. And now we're going to be about 20 to 25 in on my own. Thank you.
It's fun.
We're right around my year anniversary. So I think we launched August of last year.
Okay.
So we're getting there.
We're on second season.
Okay.
The founding memberships of PSP will end at the end of this year. And that's to include the first and second season people on that listing. So.
Am I in the second season?
We're going to hope to get you in the second season. I have to go look at the airing schedule, but we'll pump you up to make sure you're in the second season. I
love that.
Yeah.
So what I really actually resonated with on your form, and I really wanted to talk about it, was you're talking about boundaries and raising a family while raising a business. And that is challenge, to say the least. I really want to talk about your thoughts on that because I feel like the way that you delegate, did you always have this figured out as a mom and a boss? Like it just feels like because of your roles before in corporate, like you just were naturally delegating.
It didn't roll over into me at home because I really didn't. I was younger and I was at that. I'm hers. Watch me roar. I can do everything on my own.
Yep.
Especially after leaving my first husband and divorcing and doing it that way. Like F you, Dave. I'm on my way.
Yeah.
I can do this. It's my child, not yours, kind of thing. But I think the way to get that out was at work. I was way better at work, but I was the delegate. So I was the one supporting others. And I think I just always have been that way. So
that
breaking that mold,
how to do it.
Break it. Yeah, that taught me what it's like and it helps me when I want to delegate or outsource something in my business to think about what would Bonnie do? How would Bonnie like this delivered to them? You
almost had two personalities. It was like, well, I'm going to now go be the CEO and the boss, but then I'm going to have a Bonnie and I need to tell Bonnie what to do. Yeah. And then, I'm Bonnie. So then you got to tell me what to do. And then I'm going to go take those orders.
I admit, being a Gemini really does split you. I really am two different people.
Yes. My youngest daughter is a Gemini.
Is she?
Mm-hmm. She's fun.
I can be spicy and I can be goofy and I can be very serious. And, that's why you marry like an introvert.
Yeah.
And I'm the extrovert. And we're just like, and he gets exhausted just watching me, doing the podcast. I see him producing and he's like, his face is just like, are you done yet? You keep saying the same thing over and over again.
It's so funny.
I'm kind of embarrassed when he watches them, but oh well, got to get past that. I try not to mention him too much, but hey, Scott, shout out, honey.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Hey. I like all the shout outs on this episode.
I told you that the first time we watched your first solo episode, we were laying in bed watching you.
Yep. I love that.
He's like, I got to watch Ann.
I love that. Yeah. Hey, I'm Ann.
Hey, you're in bed with us.
So funny. Okay. So when you're talking about boundaries.
Yeah.
I want to talk about where those actually started forming for you that you felt good about them. Because I feel like you feel really good about them now. I do. But what did that battle look like?
That took several years in business before I realized, and joining a lot of different groups and memberships and just getting so much from my peers on how they became $1 million business owners and getting all their tips and tricks.
Yeah.
And so many talks about boundaries. And I just always felt guilty about it because I was the 9-to-5 girl sitting at my desk, always supporting. And I had to probably 5 years in, I was just physically, as I aged and went through menopause and just had to physically feel it and all that went with that. I can't do this anymore. This is too hard. And I just had to realize, listening to all the others that I align myself with, it's okay to say no. And I don't take calls on Mondays or Fridays. And I'm done. My working hours or available time is between 10 and 2. Like, that's it. And I'm a calendar girl. Not really.
I am the wrong kind of calendar girl. I hear you because I am also a calendar girl. My calendar is beautiful and it's color coded.
So is mine.
I love it so much. And you know what? I started my career, not nearly as many years as you. I feel like I could have used more, but I started as an executive assistant. First job out of college. And I supported a CIO at this really boring title company. But I remember that first experience after college of kind of growing up at work.
Yes.
I learned so much in that job. I actually feel like everybody should actually be an EA at some point in their early career. So if you're, graduating from college soon or you didn't go to college, like being an EA, what you just said, like you learn how to do the things for yourself later and then take the things from yourself as a boss to then implement it.
To give to others.
Yeah, because you realize what it takes to manage a schedule and make arrangements.
How difficult
travel
it really
and
can be.
Manage meetings and set up for the meeting and time management. You're almost there kind of supporting the executive energy, right? Like how they are, engaging with others. If you've been there a while, you can start to have a say and they ask your opinion. Like, well, they want to have a meeting about this. What do you think? Or would it make sense? Or should we do it? So you're not only calendar managing at that point, but I was like 22. And I remember my boss and I got really close and he would ask me in our meetings, well, this is what the CEO is saying or the COO. And you kind of learned all the C-suite. And like, well, do you have thoughts on that? And it's like, oh shit, wait,
sure,
what?
Let me think a minute.
Let's go to coffee. And I'm like, I'm a nobody, right?
Right.
But I think getting the EA role young, you do feel like a somebody really fast.
You do.
And you learn all that. So from that job, I actually always joke, I've had VAs in the past. I will never give calendar management over to anyone.
Oh my God,
because it's mine. And people are like, oh, you should just have someone manage your calendar and schedule for you. And I was like, no.
Do you know how many doctors are the worst patients? Doctors are the worst patients, right? EAs are the worst at getting an EA.
Correct.
So, but I will say too, like to what you were talking about, being an EA is really what made me a good CEO because I remember sitting at those boardroom tables, taking notes and snoozing off, but it was I was a sponge that I didn't know I
hearing.
And when I became a business owner, I rang that sponge out. Oh, I remember my boss. Oh, I know what that acronym means.
And how did they problem solve their way out of it? Or when there was conflict, how did that conflict look and feel? And I remember being in some meetings and I was so uncomfortable because I wasn't okay with conflict. And I was like, oh my gosh. And they'd actively be fighting each other with words. I was like, should I take notes on this? I don't really know what to do. And
so now I can protect those people that support me in the future, right? I can protect them because I know what it feels like to be in their shoes, which goes back to me wanting to still have my one client and be in the shoes with my team.
I love that because you're still working in it. I think that's really important too, is working in your craft.
Yes.
You and I are very similar. I didn't realize this. In Fix and Form, I still did the brand strategy, the brand therapy for all of our clients.
I love that.
And at one point I was, almost going to offload it. And then through having babies, I was like, it'd be really great if I could find someone else who could do this so that I could just contract it out. But I really loved that part of the work and that part of the branding process. And I got really close to the clients through doing that. And that was actually what made Fix and Form incredible was that start of brand therapy. And then we went into the creative. And so I realized it was me. It was the human part of me and the magic I brought. And so a lot of times I would get the advice of like, well, you're the CEO of the company. You shouldn't be working in client work anymore. But I was like, I don't agree with that. And I love how you say that it keeps you in the mud, in the trenches with everybody that's contracting for you. So there was a time when we were pretty busy and I would be in the trenches of this client work, doing the strategy, doing the brand therapy to get them all of the assets they needed for the logo work, for the copywriting, for the website, when everything was in full swing and managing the client process. But it kept me here and in the oh shit meetings instead of just above it going, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there is a time and place to elevate above that. And I think if volume picks up in the future for us,
stay humble. Yeah.
Exactly. There might be some assistance or there might be somebody does it. But
why can't I delegate and get somebody from my team to help support me behind the scenes?
Exactly.
That's kind of how I think of it. And I've always had my team to back me up if I take a vacation or if I really have a tough week. They're there to back me up. And that client knows that. And he's okay with that.
Yeah.
But I definitely felt like that was something I had to do. And again, I tell him all the time, I said, thank you for letting me do this for you because this business is driving me crazy and I'm getting the entrepreneur headache and I need to just go back to what I know and do and just.
Well, and that's that part of that identity too, which is all nervous system based, right? Like even as an entrepreneur, you think about where do I feel comfortable? Where do I feel at home? Right. And so I love overlapping work and home life, right? Because it's the same. So how you lead at work and life is the same. Home life, work, all the same, right? Your nervous system is going to exist the same in both places. And so your work, if your nervous system feels really safe being an EA, you're like, well, I can go do all of these other things, but I kind of need to come back to that island a little bit.
It's my safety zone.
You've managed to keep that in a small amount to keep you there as your outlet.
It's 15 whole hours a month. It's not going to kill me.
And I love that. I think that's actually really wise if you own a business that you can also do some of the work at a small scale to then help continuously grow. But also it's feedback.
It is.
As you're continuously doing the EA service now, EA services have rapidly evolved with AI, with Filipino teams, all the offshore labor. I use Upwork a lot for Filipino labor, and I love it. And I will say the whole landscape of VA has changed.
It has.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So you said you wanted your VAs to be stateside in America.
Yeah.
Why?
At the time, I was thinking in my own head because I thought of the challenges of the time changes. And I was counting over how many hours it was to the Philippines, and being an EA and the clients over the duration of my company that I've worked for and supported, when they need Bonnie on the spot. And if the Filipino VAs they're in the middle of their night and they're exhausted and falling asleep, like I'm just thinking of my own self, I might be.
Yeah.
Then having somebody stateside might be a little better. And I had a lot of feedback from clients that referred to me who previously had offshore VAs. Now, even with that said, like I said, for my podcast, I had a full production team in the Philippines. And I asked them, how do you stay up at night? How do you do this? I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And they said their full culture is to stay up at night and sleep during the day. Like they have people go to the beach at night and do all the things at night.
Really?
That's what they've told me. Like, I don't know if that's all over, but the team that I was working with said our whole culture is built to support the U.S. and we work at night. And I'm like, okay, I guess that would work. But I still get my empathy for them, like sympathy for them. Like, oh my God, you poor thing.
Yes.
In my head thinks that let's just, keep it US based. And then it's just go America kind of feeling. Yeah. So I just wanted to support America. I was a military spouse for a while,
I love that. I love that.
And I just kind of wanted to support my US babes.
Yep. So how many VAs do you have working for you right now?
We have about 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many clients do you guys have?
It's about 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's next? Are you going to start growth mode again? Are you feeling it?
When I feel a little growth in the newest business, I think I can go back into growth mode, because I think that when I get that other person helping me in biz dev and doing that strategic work together, it's not just a Bonnie of one salesperson do all the things. If I get that support again, that's how important support is.
Yeah.
You get that support again. To have that back, I think I can just grow all the 2 businesses and the podcast like crazy.
Okay. So how are you growing the Preferred Service Pros?
It's all about advertising and visibility.
What kind of advertising?
So much on YouTube. So the podcast supports the Delegate. The Delegate2Elevate podcast supports Preferred Service Pros, and that it advertises on the webpage. It advertises on the podcast. I do shout outs, video snippets of it. So it's getting that kind of exposure. Paid advertising on LinkedIn. Instagram, TikTok, all the socials, a lot of social media posts. As more memberships come in, who knows? The sky's the limit. We can advertise wherever.
What kind of creative are you finding most effective for that? Is it like you talking in a video and describing it?
It's video, and I'm suck at it. I can do a podcast, no problem. But me just standing here talking to them, hi everybody, and that's hard for me. You're a great example, so I'm gonna keep watching yours, and then I might cheat off you.
Well, if you ever want me to do an ad for you, I'd be happy to.
Oh, thank
and sometimes
you.
Actually, I was going to suggest this. If you are paying for so much advertising and you don't like selling yourself, ask a friend. That's a creative delegation.
Yes,
I'd be happy to do that for you. Ask a friend to do a little snippet ad for you on a reel, and then have someone else talk about your service as if it's a referral. And if you think about referrals and that's what sells, that's what an ad should be.
Yeah.
And so that's actually why for my speaking business, the first hire that I hired was the booking manager and the salesperson, because she can then talk about me and sell me without even caring, because it's not her. And then I can separate that from me, because I don't like talking about my own stuff.
A lot of the VA world, they're very introverted.
Yeah.
And so I can't think of anybody on my team that would do it.
Yeah.
Or else I would tap in.
So just ask for favor. I would be happy to do that. But if anyone is comfortable on camera and you're like, oh, can you just do a reel for us and then you make it an ad? That's it. Like your friends and family can help you out too. So that's a great tip that
we literally talked about that yesterday. I was like, get creative with who you're talking to and asking. I never even thought of asking. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, if you have a client who's really comfortable on camera and they wrote you a review or a testimony, you go back to them and say, hey, would you mind doing a quick, this is what I want you to say. Just hit it. It's not a script verbatim, but talk a little bit about this and make that an advertisement.
Love it.
And then just do a talking testimonial. So
that's the next evolution.
Well, with that, where can we find you? Where can all of the listeners find you online and help support your growing businesses?
So obviously find baby at tandemresourcesolutions.com and delegate2elevatepodcast.com and preferredservicepros.com.
I love it.
We're on all the socials.
I'm going to look into Preferred Service Pros if I am in the second episode or the second season batch. Yeah. because I didn't know I need to be intertwined in all of those things, because there are some amazing listing sites that I think we need to put on our radar, because we always think the standard, the basic ones, but they're so inundated with ads at this point and AI bots and we're all just over it.
So we don't want like a bajillion people, honestly.
No.
As much as I'd love that money. I don't want a bajillion. It wants to be very curated, very professional, very vetted.
I love
people
that.
I know. Because it's basically a Bonnie's list.
Oh, I love that. We call that Bonnie's list.
WWBD. What would Bonnie do? The
Amazing.
Yes.
We need to make bracelets.
I'd love that.
We should.
Let's do
those little ones. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, thank you, Bonnie, for being on today's show. Loved having you. This was great. Guys, that does it for OnlyFounders today. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.